Really, I mean, we really should, because you never know. Comes in and is like, I'm in a wheelchair.
The golf cart when they went to the retreat. I think you should do it. You can put dogs in the back. Yes. I could
Oh, yes, sir.
there's no doubt.
We'll just get some staff.
Good evening and welcome to the May 26, 2020 regular City Council meeting. If you would like to speak, complete a request to speak form that was provided to you when you entered the council chambers. Submit your completed form to the Sergeant at Arms. When your name has been called, use the microphone at the lectern on the audience's right and either state your name and address or the name of your city. Speak to the City Council as a body. Do not address the mayor and City Council members individually. Be mindful of the timer at the front of the room and wrap up your comments before your speaking time ends. The time limits are posted on the request to speak form. An applicant, representative, or person who has legal standing to support or oppose a quasi-judicial matter will be permitted enough time as reasonably determined by the City Council to create a record before the City Council. So thank you for joining us this evening, and we'll begin with the invocation with Councilmember Tim Thomas. If you'd like to participate in the invocation, please stand.
Shall we pray? Dear Lord, we thank you for this day which you have given us. Lord, help us as we conduct city business tonight. Help us to conduct ourselves in a way that's pleasing to you, and give us safe traveling mercies after we complete our mission here tonight. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Councilmember Thomas. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, Mr. McEwen.
Councilmember Sanders.
Here.
Councilmember Tim Thomas.
Here.
Councilmember LaRusso.
Present.
Councilmember Minus.
Here.
Councilmember Debbie Thomas.
Here.
Vice Mayor Alfrey.
Here.
Mayor Meehan.
Here. Thank you. And proclamations and presentations, we have some. So give me a few minutes, and I'll meet with Ms. Shannon Lewis.
Don't run me over. So we're going to recognize two individuals that have a collective 60 years worth of experience with the City of Melbourne tonight. And so what I'd like to do is we'll call you up independently, and then I'll ask you to stay here. We'll take a picture. And then for our second award winner, we'll ask you to stay up a little longer for some additional words. So first, I'd like to ask John De La Rosa to come forward, please. Well, social distance up here. We'll put you in the middle, though. All right, so John is being recognized for his 30 years of service with the City of Melbourne. And John began as a maintenance worker, too, in 1990 became a utility system service worker in 1992, then moved up to equipment operator 2 in 1998, and then to water production mechanic in 2006. In 2017, John moved to the meter reader position where he currently is today. And during his career, John is certified in 1990 for valve and hydrant maintenance, completed the Water Distribution Level B course in 1993, and received his Class 2 Distribution System Operator license in 2011. So that's the resume part of it. And, you know, I always try to find out a little bit about somebody that I may not have known about or that isn't found in your personnel file. And so I found out that several years ago, you also assisted in utility billing and collection. Just temporary, but while you were there, I asked about the time that you spent there, and the utility billing and collection staff indicated that you were very personable, you were well-liked, you were great talking to customers on the phone, and you were fun to have around. And I think if they could have kept you a little longer, they would have. But I have the honor tonight and the mayor of thanking you for your 30 years of service with the City of Melbourne. We look forward to many more years.
Thank you, sir.
All right, and next, Captain Brian Erickson. He's all dressed up. Captain Erickson began his tenure with the Melbourne Fire Department in 1988 and was one of the first fire explorers for the Melbourne Fire Department. He was hired by the department in 1990 as a trainee firefighter, and in 1991 was selected as the department's Firefighter of the Year for his coordination and setup of the department's fire prevention program in the Melbourne Square Mall. That's pretty good. Award after 1 year. All right, in 1998, he received recognition from Governor Lawton Chiles for his efforts in the 1998 wildfires. And Captain Erickson was promoted to driver engineer in 1999 and to the department's fire training captain in 2018. In 2016, Captain Erickson became the lead advisor of the department's Fire Explorer program, the very same program in which he started his career. During his tenure, he obtained multiple degrees and certifications, including an associate's and bachelor's degree in fire science, fire officer 1 and 2, fire instructor, live fire instructor, and CPR instructor. Captain Erickson has also received numerous other awards and letters of appreciation during his 30 years of service. And tonight, we'd like to thank you for spending those 30 years with us and on behalf of our community. Thank you. We're going to ask the city council members to come down and take a picture with the both of you first, and then we'll do.
Thank you, Ms. Lewis. So when you retire, you have a choice of a pictorial of either downtown O'Galley or downtown Melbourne. And this is O'Galley. So, I'm sorry?
Of course.
Oh, okay. And so this is presented to Brian Erickson from the Mayor and City Council in recognition of your dedicated service, April 1990 to June 2020. So congratulations and look forward to your retirement. Okay.
Oh, yeah, John.
Yeah.
Good job, man.
Boy, scooting right in there. Okay.
Okay. All right, item number 5 is approval of the minutes of May 5th, 2020 special meeting and May 12th, 2020 regular meeting. Council, what is your pleasure?
Mayor,
Ms. Minus.
I move for approval of both minutes.
Second.
All right, I have a motion for approval from Ms. Minus, second by Vice Mayor Elfrey, for the minutes of May 5th, 2020 special meeting and May 12th, 2020 regular meeting. Discussion? Seeing none, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, and I vote aye, and the motion passes. Item number 6 is the city manager's report. Ms. Lewis.
Thank you, Mayor. A few items here this evening. First of all, I'll report back that I did have an opportunity last week to address the Brevard County Commission regarding the city's position on the changes to the county's comprehensive emergency management plan as it related to the policy group. The county commission did vote 4-1 to adopt those changes, and so they'll be working through the administrative process on those changes for an effective date. Also, we opened City Hall and other administrative offices to the public last week. We were still encouraging for the public to transact business remotely whenever possible. Although foot traffic has picked up a little bit, it has still been fairly light, and I think the development community, for the most part, is still utilizing the drop boxes and the remote processes where they can. We did complete installation of protective barriers and have provided personal protective equipment to employees. We've also opened the playgrounds, the public restrooms, and Parks and Recreation staff are continuing to sanitize those. And I can tell you over the next few days in the week, we'll be looking at specific strategies and timing as it relates to more of our organized activities. Staff is working on a modified summer camp program, and we'll be rolling those items out. As discussed at the last meeting, the last executive order that we looked at as far as reopening provided flexibility based on our needs and guidance from the governor to be able to open up facilities as quickly as we could and as safely as we can. With that said, there are several items that we do need to seek City Council direction on. They're within the written material tonight, the first of which is a discussion regarding the July 4th fireworks. And what I would need to let Council know is that in conversation with other cities, so far they have all canceled their fireworks displays throughout the county. The port is planning to cancel theirs. The city of Titusville did agree to hold theirs, but are going to be reconsidering that this evening, so I don't know where they will end on that. From a staff perspective, our concern is really twofold. One is if we hold the fireworks, we believe that it will draw, in particular with no other city nearby holding them, even more crowds than we normally would see into the thousands of people in a fairly small area, even though it's outside. Number two, we fund our fireworks through community donations from the private sector, and about $25,000 a year. Obviously, with the economic climate and the conditions from COVID-19, we have not solicited any of our business community members for those funds. If we were to proceed, we do have dollars that are set aside in the Fireworks Trust Fund where we raised more than was needed for that specific purpose. But quite likely, we could still be feeling the effects this time next year, and we may need to utilize those trust fund dollars to assist or supplement July 4th activities next year. There has been a recommendation from the Parks and Recreation staff that we consider some alternative type of community celebration later this year, whether it's with fireworks or not, as a way to bring our community back together, since we may not be able to do that in July. I know it is something that's important to our residents. You know, it brings out the community. But those are the concerns that we have regarding fireworks activities at this time, and wanted to bring that to you for discussion tonight.
All right, thank you, Ms. Lewis. And anyone that would make a comment? Vice Mayor Alfrey?
Yes, and I'll have to agree. I know, Mayor, that it's a lot of work raising that money. We start early, and it, you know, besides the trust fund, I would like to do something though. If we could do something like maybe a walk or something across the causeway or something where we could keep social distancing, but do celebrate the 4th of July, because it's a very important holiday for this nation. So if we could do something that it's not, you know, we could fit in, I would like to do that.
Okay, so not do the fireworks on 4th of July,
Right, ma'am, yeah. Do something like a walk or something, like
Okay.
a walk across the causeway down through downtown or something. Everybody can keep their social distancing, but
Yeah,
at least
that's
where we
the
can
key.
celebrate our great country, something like that.
I know I don't feel comfortable having the 4th of July, especially with the COVID-19, the social distancing, 6 feet apart. I don't know how we could control that. And we have a lot of folks that come to see the fireworks. It really gets really crowded. If other communities aren't having it, then it's going to be really, there are more people will come to visit us. So I don't feel comfortable at all. Mr. LaRusso.
LaRusso, thank you. I just wanted to ask, all of the other cities in the county have canceled their 4th of July celebration and fireworks as well, too. Is that correct?
That's correct,
so we're the
except for
last one on
Titusville, who's reconsidering it tonight.
And we're the last ones on, okay, all right. So I agree with my fellow council members, yeah.
Yeah.
Madam
Mr.
Mayor.
Thomas.
Yeah, and I agree. If we're the only show in town, that would be
Yes.
pretty problematic. So I agree. Now, as far as the parade, what's the status on the 4th of July? Don't we usually have the 4th of July?
Yeah, the post, isn't it Rose from American
163,
Legion,
American Legion?
163?
Okay.
I don't know.
At this point, there is no parade, and there's been no special activity permit that's come in regarding such. And we have not been, and it's part of what we'll get into in the next item. When this all began, we stopped taking applications for large-scale special activity permits. We've not opened back up for that. That's a discussion that we'll have next as it relates to special events. Many of the events that were canceled, all of the events that were canceled in March were done by the person, by the applicant who was putting on the event. So the city didn't actually cancel those permits, and so we have not taken in any new permits.
Okay.
All right, Mr. LaRusso.
Am I getting ahead of myself on the firecracker 5K?
Yes, we're discussing July 4th parade. If I can get a motion and, a second, then.
So I'm ahead of myself.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Anyone else want to?
Do we need a motion or just direction?
So
Direction is fine for me.
I think we're all in agreement that we'll
Yes, ma'am.
cancel the July 4th
All right.
fireworks. Okay, all right. So, Mr. LaRusso,
No, I yield to you, Mayor.
all right.
One other quick question,
Yeah.
reference the city manager's report. Now, as far as the summer camp activity, so there's a chance that there still could be some type of summer camp that we do for our kids here in Melbourne?
Yeah, our Parks and Recreation staff put out a survey to all of our past camp participants to find out the level of need they have, their comfort with having a camp, if we were to have one and it was modified, what types of things they would be interested in having their children participate in. And so right now, that's being finalized. But what we're looking at is a modified camp with we would not be looking at the teen camp this summer. We'd focus on the higher need group from about ages 6 to 11. We would also have less camp participants because we would need to spread them out into smaller groups throughout the facilities and working where wouldn't be any trips, but we would modify the activities and the types of things they would do while at camp and making sure we have enough supplies so there's no sharing. So those are the details, as well as the safety precautions following CDC guidance that we would be able to enact and maintain privacy for the campers and their parents.
So when will that decision be made? Has it been made? We are going to do it, or y'all are doing the research on it?
So we are definitely, we believe that we can do a modified camp, and we're just now putting crossing the T's and dotting the I's.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you.
All right. All right, Ms. Lewis.
Okay, thank you. So the next the next item to discuss would be the special activity permits. And as I mentioned, during the beginning stages of the COVID-19 pandemic, the organizers of several large events either canceled or rescheduled till later in the year. Also, during this period, the city clerk's office stopped accepting applications for events that involved large group gatherings. Now that the state's beginning to reopen, applicants and event organizers are beginning to ask questions and inquire about the status of those large-scale events within the City of Melbourne. The first to be considered is the Running Zone's annual Firecracker 5K, which is scheduled for July 4th. If that's approved by the city, the Running Zone would open up registration in mid-June for this 5K. And so the city clerk's office has been looking into this item, and I know speaking with the applicant, we're also working with the city attorney's office on how we would make sure to start to open up special events again, complying with the governor's executive orders and with CDC guidance. And so the city clerk's office has, in working with the Running Zone and looking at other best practices, felt like as we begin to open special events back up, the runs and the walks would be a good place to start and a good place to start rolling that back out, as opposed to events that are bringing in large gatherings to just one location. For example, I won't go into all of the plan, although I do believe Ms. Weiser can speak to this, and I believe the Running Zone applicants are here as well, that they have developed a plan that would provide for a phasing, so there would be smaller groups that would start, and they would move them every 10 minutes. A different wave would come in, as I understand, that would cancel the post-event party, if you will, and not put in the results, and that would be done online. Instead of being able to pick up race packets the day of the event, which is typically about 50% of the attendees, they would have to do all of that ahead of time, and that any of the snacks and beverages at the end of the race would all be prepackaged. So they appear to have started developing what looks like a reasonable plan, but it still is a large number of people. Typically, they would have about 1,300. They believe in this circumstance, they would be looking at more like 600 to 700. And again, a process of having people wait in their cars off-site until it was time for their pre-scheduled time to start. If there's specific questions, I can ask Ms. Weiser to come forward, or potentially the applicants if they're there. What we think would be probably a prudent thing to do is start with the outdoor walking, running types of events, and look at our some temporary modifications through an executive order at this point to our special event activity permit process to allow for some additional regulation that we don't have today, and then wait to see where the state goes for gathering size. And any additional guidance from the governor as we move forward. And if we begin to do this, our recommendation would be that we would not take applications prior to July 1st, but then look out. That would give us a few more weeks to see how the state continues to recover and any additional guidance or regulation from the governor's office.
Okay. All right. Yeah, Mr. LaRusso.
Thank you. You said the applicants are here.
I believe so.
Could we just hear a few words from the applicant, just because it's like our first step back into the world again, you know? Thank you for being here this evening.
All right.
Thank you. I'm Denise Piercy, Running Zone Foundation and Running Zone. And we, of course, haven't had an event since March 7th. So we have been doing a lot of research. Because we have a race management company, timing company, and we put on our own events. We have a large community that give us a lot of resources and a lot of information. And they've been wonderful sharing information. Everyone's been building this together in our community to be able to go forward and hold these events in the future in our new world as it is today. So there have been some that have been approved. There's one in Jacksonville. There's different events all around. And as they happen, I think we will even learn more and more and sharing as to best practices and being able to go forward with these. We plan on, like Mrs. Lewis said, that we have a lot of plans to keep everyone down to point-to-point contact to a minimum. and as well as people gathering in one spot at one time to, spreading them out, social distancing. And we feel that we can do this well, and we feel that being outside, it gives us the opportunity to do this in a safe manner. Front Street Park is where the event is, and it's a large area. Normally the parking lot is closed because of the fireworks, so we'd have to discuss that, if we were able to utilize the parking lot area as well. If you weren't gonna close it or whatever, we can discuss that. But the park area is very large, and we will be sending out information to the people. Give them a start time so they know exactly when they're supposed to start, and to stay in their cars until it's time for them to move to the start area. So I think we can do it in an orderly manner, and people are very excited to be able to do an event again and get life back to new normal. The other thing we have offered because of this is people to be able to do it virtually. So that's where the difference between 1,300 and the 600 we believe will come from, whereas people are still maybe nervous about coming out to an event, or they are in that demographic that need to be very wary of it. They can do that run on their own and still sort of participate. We have a lot of items for them as well. If you have any questions, I can answer.
Vice Mayor Elfrey.
Yeah, two things. Actually, one, I think there's an issue with your clock, because I remember the last 5K I ran, it was like real slow, and I was like last, but it was like the numbers were real high. I don't think the digits went that high. There's no secret on, I wrote a letter to the governor feeling that the broad brush closing of businesses and such, doesn't really work. And I think I'd like to see more input with our local officials, because a situation like this, I'm all for it. I mean, you're better off running, and I probably need to be out there too, and I probably will sign up and be last, but it's important, and I'm all for this. And if we could do this, and we're all responsible here, and I'm all for it. And whatever we could do, I would ask the council to work with the group, and let's get back on track.
Madam Mayor.
All right, Ms. Sanders?
First, I want to say thank you for what you do for the community. I've been out there many times, and I agree, the clock has a little issue to it. As someone who started the Couch to 5K for the umpteenth time again today, I will be ready for July 4th. So with that said, you put on a great run, a great race. You're always extremely organized. So I have faith if you work with our city clerk's office to keep that social distancing, and I'm all for it.
Thank you.
All right,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Thomas?
Yeah, I tell you, if we don't do something, the 4th of July is going to be such a bummer. And so I think this is a good, safe way to start to integrate people back into the new normal. And so I'm all for it. And, I do think you do have a new timing device for Representative Alfrey. I think it's called a sundial. So.
Ms. Thomas?
I too agree. Thank you very much for everything you do, and I'm excited to have this. And I think it's important for the residents that are out there to be able to get out, if they're comfortable, to get out and go do this. So I fully support it.
Thank you.
The only question that I might have, or that I might suggest, is we might want to make sure that we put this up for our citizens to know that it's going to be there, so the people that just normally walk or run the bridge at the time have that little bit of notice that that's going to be going on, so that they decide they want to stay away, or however they want to decide to handle that.
All right, Mr. LaRusso.
Thank you. And thank you for being here. I mean, rather than to just, be sitting in your living room and, watching us on live stream now, isn't that cool?
We're very excited, so we...
Oh, I'll bet. Could you remind us, please, of the route of which the 5K is?
We started Front Street. We wanted to modify that a bit to be starting on Mel Ave so that we had a little bit more room to stretch out and it wasn't near the finish line. Then they go out over the causeway and back and finish at Front Street.
Thank you so much for being here, and good luck. And I think we're all on board, I think.
Exciting.
So.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, the question I have is the parking lot, and that is very crowded with our boaters, and I don't want to see that closed.
Okay.
So if we can somehow work it to where,
We can work that out. That's
okay,
fine.
very
Yeah.
good, because it is crowded.
Yep.
They even park their trailers across,
We know. Yeah.
right by the mansion. Okay. Ms. Minus?
Mayor, I'd go ahead and make this unanimous. I'm very much in support of it, and I think this is an excellent idea. I think Vice Mayor and I will be running neck and neck, bringing up the rear. But I'm
We'll
looking
start you in the
forward to it.
early corral.
Yeah.
I don't want to be passed. Let me go last. And I'll be there. I actually will be there. Actually,
Okay.
I beat Mr. Thomas in arm wrestling the other day. I'd like to see what he can do. You remember that? So
How long did it take you?
okay, then we can see about me. I will be there. I'd like to get the good run in. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, what happened to social distancing? Okay.
We got long arms.
All right.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. All right, so Ms. Lewis?
Thank you, Mayor. And so just a couple last things. At the probably, I guess, maybe 2 or 3 meetings ago, we discussed the waivers for utility bill late fees. At the time, the staff recommendation was to continue that through the month of May and then to resume June 1st. Going back and looking at the minutes, I'm not sure if that's where council was at the time, so I wanted to see where you were as it related to the waiver of the utility bills and the non-shutoff. It's about $60,000 in revenue that we estimate so far, and in looking at the numbers, we're trending pretty much where we would be, where we had been prior to the COVID-19 pandemic. But I wanted to bring that to your attention because without additional action, that will expire at the end of this week.
All right, council, what is your pleasure on, do we want to extend it another month, or do we just want to end it at the end of this month?
I think we extend it one more month. I think that would be good for our residents.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with that,
I
to
agree.
extend it another month. Everybody else?
Mayor?
Yeah, Ms. Sanders.
I think as long as our businesses aren't fully opened, then we need to extend it.
Right. All right, very good. Next.
And sorry, after the agenda was published last week, we did receive a request from the Orlando Melbourne Airport Authority to provide a letter of support for a grant that they are requesting. This grant is for $3 million. It's a public infrastructure grant similar to what was done last year, and this would be for the extension of St. Michael Place to assist not only with the Ariane Supersonic project, but also with existing and future tenants. And so if council has no objection, I've prepared a letter for the mayor's signature to provide with their grant application this week.
All right, council, everybody in agreement?
I agree.
It's a
Yes, ma'am.
no-brainer, right?
Yes,
All
ma'am.
right, very good.
And then last but not least, I just want to say it's in your report, but it doesn't tell the whole story. Emil Castrillo is a police officer who's retiring from the Melbourne Police Department after 30 years. He wasn't here tonight to receive a pin, but I just wanted to bring to your attention that this gentleman had planned to retire a month or 2 ago, and when the coronavirus first started, he rescinded that resignation and postponed it until the last day of his job that he was eligible for. And so I sent an email to thank him, but I wanted you to know what a tremendous public servant that is and how remarkable it speaks of the department and the city. And I just wanted to thank him for his service and to let you know that selfless act that he did this past month.
All right, very good, very good. All right, thank you, Ms. Lewis. Any other questions for Ms. Lewis?
Mayor.
Yeah, Ms. Minus.
Can I go back
Yes.
to the water bill extension? We didn't have an extended date. It's going to be a month, 6 months, or until we are fully operational, or
End of June.
to the end of June?
Right, and then at that point, I think we can bring it back and then make a decision, but for right now, if everybody's in agreement, end of June?
No,
So
ma'am.
we don't have a second meeting in
No,
June?
second meeting.
Okay. So,
Well,
Then the
I'd like
first,
to make a
first
motion
meeting
then.
in July would be fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, then we'll go then, or I'll make a
Right.
motion.
first meeting in July, then we make the decision to,
Or, yeah, whatever, that's fine.
Okay,
would that be good? All right.
all right, thank you.
All right, next is public comments. Do I have any sign-up sheets? All right, very good. David Newman.
My name is David Newman. I live in Melbourne, Florida. Mayor, Council, first of all, thank you so much for your leadership during the coronavirus. While we're still getting through it, it's great to hear and see that Melbourne intends to be a leader for businesses and families in this city and the county. Now, thank you so much also for the city manager's comments as well in regards to the summer camps. I'll be speaking on that. As you know, last week, Brevard Public Schools decided to cancel their summer camps last year, at least through June, and will reassess for July. Brevard County Parks originally canceled their plans for summer camps, but are putting together a plan to see if it's possible for the rest of the summer. Outside of those, I haven't seen too many vacation Bible school signs or any other summer camp alternatives for children and families around town. This leaves a large gap for children and families in Melbourne. Thankfully, the governor and the county board have come out in support of summer camps in our county. I'm coming here today to ask you to continue to lead our county when it comes to summer camps by having summer camps in Melbourne for our local children and families. I've talked to parents around Melbourne, and with school being out now more than ever, they are hoping for an opportunity for their children to have an enrichment program for the summer. In a time where students are being instructed from home, these camps provide children the opportunity to receive exercise, learn new skills, and get social activity with kids their age. In my mind, the pools at our local parks are the first thing I think of. Without our summer programs, many children will not get to exercise in a swimming pool in a safe environment, as well as not being able to learn how to swim. The last time I looked, Florida was third in the nation when it comes to drownings. These summer camps are literally teaching our local children's life-saving skills. Something to consider, as well as how these summer camps are going, is how it supports parents, especially single parents. Being able to put her child in a summer camp allows a single mother to have the time to run errands, provide for the house, get well-needed respite for caring for their loved one, and the opportunity to go for job interviews that she may have lost her job during the coronavirus. Getting our summer camps up and running literally helps reboot our economic engine in the community. Again, I'm grateful for what you have done to lead during the coronavirus, and the challenges aren't over. I'm sure there will be a loss of revenue to the city because of the downturn, and difficult decisions will have to be made. We will have to rebalance the budget. While you make those tough calls, just keep in mind the importance of summer camps when it comes to our children and families. By keeping our local summer camps this year, we will be continuing to lead during the coronavirus and helping families in a meaningful way when they need it the most. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Newman. That is it for public comments, and we will go into unfinished business. Item number 8, ordinance number 2020-32, Del Monte condominiums. Miss Allison Dolly.
Yes, ma'am. An ordinance of the City of Melbourne, Brevard County, Florida, amending ordinance number 2019-26 by revising the site plan and conditions of approval relating to property on 2 parcels totaling 1.64 plus or minus acres, zone CR2, 1, 2, and multiple family dwelling medium density district with a conditional use to allow a building height of 65 plus or minus feet, an additional 17 feet of height. Located on the east side of U.S. Highway 1 and south of Post Road, providing for a substantial change to the previously approved site plan, providing for revised conditions of approval, providing that the conditional use granted by ordinance number 2019-26 may be revoked by City Council if the conditions of approval are not met, providing that all remaining provisions of ordinance number 2019-26 shall remain in full force and effect, providing an effective date and providing an adoption schedule.
Thank you, Ms. Dolly. This is under Community Development. Ms. Cindy Dittmer.
Yes, I don't have anything further to add on second reading.
All right, any questions for Ms. Dittmer? All right, seeing none. This is quasi-judicial. Do I have any disclosures? Seeing none, this is public hearing. Do I have any sign-up sheets? I'll close the public hearing, bring it back to council. What is your pleasure?
Madam Mayor,
Mr. Thomas.
recommend approval of ordinance number 2020-32 with SP 2018-15 SC based upon the findings and conditions contained in the Planning and Zoning Board memorandum.
Second.
All right, I have a motion for approval of ordinance number 2020-32 as stated in council's package by Mr. Thomas, second by Mr. LaRusso. Discussion? Seeing none, this is second reading. It's going to require a roll call vote.
Councilmember Sanders?
Aye.
Councilmember Tim Thomas?
Aye.
Councilmember LaRusso?
Aye.
Councilmember Minus?
Aye.
Councilmember Debbie Thomas?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Alfrey? Aye. Mayor Meehan?
And I vote aye, and the motion passes. Item number 9 is ordinance number 2020-33, Parasol Apartments. Miss Allison Dolly.
An ordinance of the City of Melbourne, Brevard County, Florida, amending ordinance number 2018-47 by revising the site plan and conditions of approval related to property on 10.66 plus or minus acres, zone CC1, neighborhood commercial with a conditional use to allow for a multifamily development, located on the east side of Dairy Road, north of Palm Bay Road, and south of Range Road, providing for the repeal of ordinance number 2019-41, providing for a second substantial change to the previously approved site plan, providing for revised conditions of approval, providing that the conditional use granted by ordinance number 2018-47 may be revoked by City Council if the conditions of approval in this ordinance are not met, providing that all remaining provisions of ordinance number 2018-47 shall remain in full force and effect, providing an effective date and providing an adoption schedule.
Thank you, Ms. Dolly. This is under Community Development. Ms. Cindy Dittmer.
Yes, nothing further to add on second reading.
Right, any questions for Ms. Dittmer? Seeing none, this is Quasi-Judicial. Any disclosures? Seeing none, this is a public hearing. Do I have any sign-up sheets? I'll close the public hearing, bring it back to council. What is your pleasure?
Mayor,
Ms. Thomas.
move for approval of ordinance number 2020-33 with SP 2017-14SC2 based upon the findings and conditions contained in the Planning and Zoning Board memorandum.
Second.
All right, I have a motion for approval of ordinance number 2020-33 as stated in council's package by Ms. Thomas, second by Mr. Thomas. Discussion? Seeing none, this is a second reading. It's going to require a roll call vote.
Councilmember Sanders.
Aye.
Councilmember Tim Thomas.
Aye.
Councilmember LaRusso.
Aye.
Councilmember Minus.
Aye.
Councilmember Debbie Thomas.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Alfrey.
Aye.
Mayor Meehan.
And I vote aye, and the motion passes. Item number 10 is ordinance number 2020-34, Talus USA, Inc. Ms. Allison Dolly.
Yes, an ordinance for the City of Melbourne, Brevard County, Florida, revoking the economic development ad valorem tax exemption granted to Talus USA, Inc., adopted by ordinance 2017-26, making a finding that the business has indicated that it will not be able to fulfill the representations made in its ad valorem tax exemption application, providing an effective date and providing for adoption.
Thank you, Ms. Dolly. This is Community Development. Ms. Cindy Dittmer.
Yes, nothing further to add on second reading for this item either.
All right. Any questions for Ms. Dittmer? Seeing none. This is a public hearing. Do I have any sign-up sheets? I'll close the public hearing, bring it back to council. What is your pleasure?
Mayor,
Ms. Thomas.
move for approval of ordinance number 2020-34.
Second.
I have a motion for approval of ordinance number 2020-34 by Ms. Thomas, second by Ms. Minus. Discussion?
Mayor,
Mr. LaRusso.
quick question. Do we have any other companies that are coming back to us this year because of the challenges that we're facing as
right,
you
Ms.
know, in the
Dittmer?
business relationship here?
No, we completed our 2019 annual report, and 3 of the other companies continue to meet their requirements, and Talus is the only one who chose not to continue. So we'll look again in 2020.
Okay, and Thales came to us rather than we having to go to them. They knocked on the door and said, we can't get this done, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, it's unfortunate. All right. I'd like to, make a note that maybe during the course of the next year that we kind of find some kind of, way that we can kind of manipulate this a little bit better through all the agencies that are available to us, and it's so that we can bring and keep the companies that are really that were on the launch pad per se, to make sure that they're still with us one way or the other. I'm sorry, I just really. I'm troubled by it because I remember the Thales CFO standing here well before you were here, well before you were here, when he made the plea, when to stay here. We had that conversation. All right, thank you.
Any other discussion? Seeing none, this is a second reading. It's going to require a roll call vote.
Councilmember Sanders.
Aye.
Councilmember Tim Thomas.
Aye.
Councilmember LaRusso.
Aye.
Councilmember Minus.
Aye.
Councilmember Debbie Thomas.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Alfrey.
Aye.
Mayor Meehan.
And I vote aye, and the motion passes. Item number 11, ordinance number 2020-35, Ms. Allison Dolly.
Yes, ma'am. An ordinance of the City of Melbourne, Brevard County, Florida, amending Chapter 2 of the City Code entitled Administration, amending Section 2-686, frequency and duration of events on private property by suspending the 30-day limit for business promotions through December 31st, 2020, providing for severability and interpretation, providing an effective date, and providing an adoption schedule.
Thank you, Ms. Dolly. This is under the City Attorney's Office, and here is...
Assistant City Attorney Adam Conley. I don't have anything to add on second reading. Happy to answer any questions you may have.
All right, any questions for Mr. Conley? All right, Vice Mayor Elfrey.
I'm sorry, this just came up to me. This does not have anything to do with snipe signs, correct?
No, sir. This is the time limitation for business promotions.
No, I guess, I'm sorry. My question would be more, you see snipe signs on public poles and stuff like that we remove. This will not allow them to remain, correct?
Correct. This code language and change would not otherwise allow snipe signs. This is only for
Perfect. Yeah, I just want to verify
otherwise
that.
allowable business promotion events.
That's perfect. Thank you, Mayor.
You're talking about like the phone poles and the...
Well, yeah, they'll put up, buying houses.
Get a divorce kit
yeah.
and all this. Okay, yeah, that's right.
And I just want to make sure that we're clear on the attorney language that this is not permissible in the city because it's pretty sometime unsightly.
Yes, I agree.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. And I should have. I just thought about it just now.
No problem. Good
Thank
question. All right. So, any other further comments for Mr. Conley? All right. Very good report. Thank you.
Thank you.
So, Council, what is your pleasure? Oh, it's a public hearing. That's right. Do I have any sign-up sheets? All right. Close the public hearing. Bring it back to Council. What is your pleasure?
Mayor,
Ms. Thomas.
move for approval of ordinance number 2020-35.
Second.
All right. I have a motion for approval of ordinance number 2020-35 by Ms. Thomas, second by Vice Mayor Elfrey. Discussion? This is second reading. It's going to require a roll call vote.
Councilmember Sanders.
Aye.
Councilmember Tim Thomas.
Aye.
Councilmember LaRusso.
Aye.
Councilmember Minus.
Aye.
Councilmember Debbie Thomas.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Alfrey.
Aye.
Mayor Meehan.
And I vote aye, and the motion passes. We are now into new business, and item number 12 is task order number CDM 047 with CDM Smith, Inc. for engineering services associated with the design and permitting of Canova Beach Booster Pump Station Improvements Project. And here to report in engineering and utilities is Ralph Reigelsberger.
Yep, Public
Welcome.
Works and Utilities Director. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council. This item before you is regarding the Canova Beach Booster Pump Station located on the Barrier Islands, just north of O'Galley. The existing station would consist of a 2 million gallon storage tank, some 75 horsepower motors, and split case centrifugal pumps with constant speed motors. Provide storage, boosting, and repumping of treated drinking water into the city's water distribution system to the Barrier Island. The scope of services consist of engineering design, new 1,500 gallon per minute vertical turbine pumps powered by VFDs, a new electrical building, a new electrical service, electrical equipment, and instrumentation and controls. Civil engineering will be provided for the building structural design, grading and drainage and paving, and landscape and irrigation design will be provided as required by the Brevard County site plan permit application. The agenda materials have more details. This project in regards to Canova Station consisted of a number of components that we were going to do a little bit every year and trying to work with it. We had it evaluated, a preliminary design in regards to doing like the first component of it. So therefore, we're just taking everything that we budgeted in the next 5 years and we're going to concentrate for economy of scale and do the project all at once. So therefore, the project is not currently adequately funded because it's looking out to the whole 5-year period. A chemical storage structure and feed system for the station was originally planned as a separate project, but is now being integrated into a whole complete project. During preliminary design analysis, it was determined that the existing electrical building could not be used, and the need for a new electrical building dictates the placement of the chemical storage and feed systems. So the increased scope of services increases the engineering services, the cost and construction cost. A budget transfer in the amount of $390,000 from project number 30099, the unappropriated budget savings, is necessary to appropriate funds for this project. Request approval of task order number CDM 047 to CDM Smith in the amount of $433,123 and a budget transfer of $390,000 from the water and sewer budget savings to the Canova Beach Booster Pump Station improvements projects.
Right, thank you, Ralph. Any questions for Ralph on this
Yeah.
project? Mr. LaRusso?
Thank you. It's any particular reason why we're accelerating this by 5 years?
Well, it's not necessarily 5 years. We have a 5-year CIP in regards to we were going to do components at a time. When we started looking at it, such as the electrical, it's going to have an impact each component. It was made more sense to design it all at once, so we don't do a piece and then find out we should have moved the electrical service for it, example.
Okay, and the building obviously is not capable of handling what we need right now.
That is correct.
Okay, and we have to drill down and bore all this, and we have to understand, the foundation and everything else. Although that building has been there for how long?
It's longer than me, so I don't know in regards to how long the building, but it's more of a key component in regards to making sure all the pieces fit on the property, that the piping is in the proper place. It's not really anything in regards to super deep in regards to structural components.
Okay.
The tank is not moving.
And this is coming out of the enterprise fund? I mean, this is strictly water fund? I mean, there's...
Yes.
You know what I'm going to.
Yeah, and your usual
Please.
question is this going to affect any other project? No,
Correct.
sir. It's going to cause it, all the projects will remain in our 5-year CIP. We're just going to reprioritize them as the budget develops.
Thank you very much, Ralph. I appreciate it.
Welcome, sir.
Any other
I
questions?
think you got me handled right now. So,
All right, so, council, what is your pleasure on item number 12?
Mayor.
Mr. LaRusso?
Thanks. Approval of task number CDM 047 to CDM Smith, Inc., Maitland, Florida, in the amount of $433,123 and budget transfer of $390,000 from water and sewer unappropriated budget savings. Project number is 30099 into the Canova Beach Booster Pump Station Improvements Project. Project number 31418. I take that off all your shoulders, okay?
All right, I have a motion for approval of item number 12 as stated in council's package by Mr. LaRusso, second by Ms. Minus. Discussion? Seeing none, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, and I vote aye, and the motion passes. Item number 13, let me get right to it, is task order BMEG 254 to the continuing contract for engineering services with Busson Mayer Engineering Group for professional engineering services associated with the lift station number 35 replacement project. And here to report is Ralph Reigelsberger.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. We're going to have a number of these lift stations that are in our scheduled CIP program.
Yes.
This is lift station number 35, located within the cul-de-sac of Terry Drive in the Harbor View Estate subdivision. That's just a little bit south of close to the Ballard Park area. This lift station is nearing its useful life and it's time for requiring replacement. The pumps, discharge piping, valves, valve vault, and control panel are old and require replacement. And while the wet well structure is generally acceptable, it will still need to be recoated. The scope of work includes boundary and topographic survey of the lift station site, civil engineering design services, electrical engineering, and instrumentation and controls design services, permitting services, bidding services, and construction administration services. Funding is available within the capital improvement project for lift station number 35 and request approval of task order number BMEG 254 to Busson Mayer, Florida for lift station number 35 in the amount of $64,200.
Thank you, Ralph. Any questions for Ralph? All right, seeing none. All right, so council, what is your pleasure? Item number 13, excuse me. All right, Ms. Minus.
I move for approval of task order number BMEG 254 to Busson Mayer Engineering Group, Inc. of Merritt Island, Florida for lift station number 35 replacement project, project number 32020 in the amount of $64,200.
All right, I have a motion for approval of item number 13 as stated in council's package by Ms. Minus, second by Vice Mayor Elfrey. Discussion? Seeing none, those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, and I vote aye, and the motion passes. Item number 14, task order BMEG 255 to the continuing contract for engineering services for the lift station number 40 replacement project, project number 32120 at Busson Mayer Engineering Group, Merritt Island, Florida, $74,700. Mr. Ralph Reigelsberger.
Yeah, thank you. Lift station number 40 is located on the north side of Crown Boulevard and east of Babcock Street, just south of the Palm Bay High School, and it's reaching its useful end of its service life and requires replacement. This existing station is an outdated can-style wet well with adjacent dry pits for housing the pumps, and it will be completely upgraded. The scope of work includes boundary and topographic survey of the lift station site, civil engineering design services, electrical engineering design services, permitting services, bidding services, and construction administration services. Funding is available in the capital improvement project budget, lift station number 40, and we request approval of task order number 255, BMEG 255 to Bus and Mayor for the lift station 40 replacement project in the amount of $74,700.
Thank you, Ralph. Any questions for Ralph? All right, seeing none, council, what is your pleasure?
Mayor,
Vice Mayor Elfrey.
I recommend approval of task order number BMEG 255 to Bus and Mayor Engineering Group, Inc. of Merritt Island, Florida for lift station number 40 replacement project, project number 32120 in the amount of $74,700.
Second.
All right, I have a motion for approval of item number 14 as stated in council's package by Vice Mayor Elfrey, second by Ms. Sanders. Discussion? Seeing none, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, and I vote aye, and the motion passes. Item number 15 is task order BMEG 256 to the continuing contract for engineering services to the lift station number 33 replacement project, project number 32118, Bus and Mayor Engineering Group, Merritt Island, Florida, $75,500. Ralph?
Thank you, Mayor. Lift station number 33 is located at the southeast corner of John Rhodes Boulevard and O'Galley Boulevard at the intersection. At that intersection and adjacent to the Wawa property, and it's reaching its useful life period also. This station is also an outdated can-style wet well with an adjacent dry pit for housing the pumps, and it will be completely upgraded. The scope of work includes the typical boundary and topographic survey of the lift station site, civil engineering design services, electrical engineering design services, permitting services, bidding services, and construction administration services. Funding is available within the Water and Sewer Capital Improvement Project budget, and request approval of task order number BMEG 256 to Bus and Mayor Engineering Group for lift station number 33 in the amount of $75,500.
Thank you, Ralph. Any questions for Ralph on this project? All right, seeing none, council, what is your pleasure? Item number 15.
Mayor,
Ms. Minus.
I move for approval of task order number BMEG 256 to Bus and Mayor Engineering Group, Inc. of Merritt Island, Florida for lift station number 33 replacement project, project number 32118 in the amount of $75,500.
Second.
All right, I have a motion for approval of item number 15 by Ms. Minus, second by Vice Mayor Elfrey. Discussion? Seeing none, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? And I vote aye, and the motion passes. Item number 16 is NASA Boulevard Landscape Medians Project, project number 18615. And here to report is Keith Cunningham, our acting city engineer.
Good night,
Welcome.
Mayor and Council. Thank you, Mayor. This item, as you looked in your package, includes a lot of budget resolutions. But just a little background on the project. It was Babcock CRA created and funded the NASA Boulevard Landscape Medians project in an effort to enhance that corridor between Babcock and NASA Boulevard between Babcock and Eddy Allen Road. Originally, it was intended to be funded partially by a DOT landscaping grant for $100,000. During the final process, DOT informed us, that's the Department of Transportation, informed us that only $40,661 would be eligible for reimbursement, and that the city would also be required to hire engineering services engineer to do the administration and inspection of the project. and the cost for that was over $40,000 also. So with that in mind, we compare the cost of hiring the CEI firm against whatever the DOT would have reimbursed us, and it was determined that the joint participation agreement was not the option that would be cost effective. The city pursued the option of entering into a landscape construction and maintenance memorandum of agreement where the city would construct, maintain the project, and we would do it in-house. The maintenance of the landscaping would be about $3,000 per year, and the CRA would pay that maintenance until they sunset in the year 2025. The general fund would then pick up that maintenance cost. We had bids received, 2 bids were received, and Green Construction Technologies of Wilton Manors, Florida was the low bidder, $178,224.43. And they will complete this project in 90 days. And there's a $500 liquidated damages for each day that they're late. As I indicated earlier, the agenda materials have a lot of details about the budget resolutions and termination of the JPA, and also the memorandum of agreement. And the final thing would be to award the contract to Green Construction Technologies, Inc. of Wilton Manors, Florida. The initial resolution requires the CRA to convene, or the council to convene a CRA. So.
Okay. So without objection, council will convene as the Babcock Street Community Redevelopment Agency for the following item, resolution number 3923. So that was pretty much what you had stated in this resolution. All right, so council, what is your pleasure?
Mayor.
Ms. Thomas.
Move for approval of resolution number 3923.
Second.
All right, I have a motion for approval of resolution number 3923 by Ms. Thomas, second by Vice Mayor Elfrey. Discussion? Yeah, Mr. LaRusso.
Thank you. I apologize for being absent for just a few moments. This really intrigued me when I first read it, Mr. Cunningham. That who was the responsible party to finding the extra? You know, that it cost us more money to go this way than to go that way.
Yes, it did.
Can you identify, that one person, or was it a collective effort? Or
it was a collective effort.
Collective effort.
When we were informed that we would have to hire the consultant.
FDOT approved landscaping artist, whatever, the architectural guy. Have we found these savings before in the past? We've had a lot of different discussions about FDOT over the past couple of months because of other different issues, and certainly not for this one exactly. But it seems that FDOT seems to be putting a lot of things on top of the different cities, well, specifically Melbourne, that we can see. And we keep pushing back, and now we are getting more for our money based on what they are demanding from us?
Well,
I know it's a broad brush statement, but
some of these programs require that you have to hire the FDOT approved consultant to do the construction.
In order to get the $40,000, but we've saved so much more money.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you for your hard work. I really appreciate it. And everybody in your staff and everybody who was involved in this. That's awesome work. It is just,
thank you.
It just needs to be recognized. Thank you.
All right. Any other comments? All right, seeing none, we have a motion and a second. Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, and I vote aye, and the motion passes. Without objection, council will reconvene for the following items. Item number B, resolution number 3924.
Mayor.
Ms. Minus.
I move for approval of resolution number 3924.
Second.
I have a motion for approval of resolution number 3924 by Ms. Minus, second by Ms. Thomas. Discussion? Seeing none, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, and I vote aye, and the motion passes. Item C, resolution number 3925.
Mayor.
Ms. Thomas.
Move for approval of resolution number 3925.
Second.
All right, I have a motion for approval of resolution number 3925 by Ms. Thomas, second by Ms. Minus. Discussion? Seeing none, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, and I vote aye, and the motion passes. Item number D, resolution number 3926. Council, what is your pleasure?
Mayor.
Ms. Thomas?
Move for approval of resolution number 3926.
Second.
All right, I have a motion for approval of resolution number 3926 by Ms. Thomas, second by Ms. Sanders. Discussion? Seeing none, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, and I vote aye, and the motion passes. Item number E is the contract award for NASA Boulevard Landscape Medium Project, project number 18615 to Green Construction Technologies, Inc., Wilton Manors, Florida, $178,224.43. Mr. Keith Cunningham. Any comments on that? Just,
No,
that's it?
no, Mayor. it's
All right,
fine.
council, what is your pleasure?
Mayor,
Ms. Minus.
I move for approval of contract award for the NASA Boulevard Landscape Medium Project, project number 18615 with Green Construction Technologies, Inc., Wilton Manors, Florida, $178,224.43.
Second.
I have a motion for approval of item number E as stated in council's package by Ms. Minus, second by Ms. Thomas. All right. Discussion? Seeing none, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, and I vote aye, and the motion passes. Item number 17 is work order number 4 for the fiscal year 20 resurfacing project or program, project number 68020 VA Paving, Inc., Cocoa, Florida, $1,432,006.59. Mr. Keith Cunningham.
Thank you, Mayor. I think at your last meeting, we had a similar request for some repaving of NASA. And
Yes.
if you've been by there, you've seen how they've been moving along pretty good. This is just a continuation. This would be for this current fiscal year, FY 20 resurfacing program. And we've listed the streets that will be repaved. It will be a similar piggyback contract with VA Paving. And I can just give you an idea of some of the streets. We've made sure that we just continue with that same program of when the pavement condition index or the pavement is at a certain 80, I think, then that's when it's eligible for resurfacing. So we've looked at, based on that report that was done several years ago, we've looked at several of these each go around just to see which roads would be eligible for resurfacing. And that's how we came up with this list. We also, if there is base failure, that's also taken into account. And those are the ones that we do the full depth reclamation on. So you've seen some of those in the past. So the ones that we have listed tonight are Kensington Road, Lancaster Road, Loxley Road, Riverview Drive between US 1 and US 192, Tallridge Road, Gulfwood Road, Alabama Drive, Allen Adale Road, Alderman Boulevard, Archer Lane, Arnold Drive, and Auburn Avenue. And then we also had a few that had some base failure. That was Wellington Road, Main Street, Layden Road on West Shores Boulevard, and Creighton Street, or Crichton. The agenda materials detail the scope of the work for each work order. Funding is available in the Capital Improvements Project Budget 68020, Fiscal Year 20 Resurfacing Program. And the requested action is approval of work order number 4 with VA Paving of Cocoa, Florida, for the fiscal year 20 resurfacing program, project number 68020 in the amount of $1,432,006.59.
Right. Thank you, Keith. Any questions for Keith? It's all in the package. All right, council, what is your pleasure? Item number 17.
Madam Mayor,
Mr. Thomas.
recommend approval of work order number 4 with VA Paving Incorporated, Cocoa, Florida, for the FY20 resurfacing program, project number 68020 in the amount of $1,432,000, $6.59.
Second.
All right, I have a motion for approval of item number 17 as stated in council's package by Mr. Thomas, second by Ms. Thomas. Discussion?
Mayor?
Mr. LaRusso.
Thanks. I just want to thank the Space Coast Transportation Planning Organization's efforts in this project. We have 3 very valuable members here on that board, and I want to thank you for making that happen for the City of Melbourne. Thank you so much.
Okay. All right. Very good. Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, and I vote aye, and the motion passes. Item number 18 is transportation project priorities for the Space Coast Transportation Planning Organization Transportation Improvement Program for fiscal year 2021 to fiscal year 2025. Mr.
Oh, Mayor,
Cunningham?
I got one. I was one step ahead. I apologize.
Okay. All right, item number 18.
All right. We're allowed one, right?
Yes. Or 2.
All right, I'm leaving.
All right.
Each year we come before you to the Space Coast Transportation Planning Organization prepares a work program for transportation projects planned in Brevard County. The 5-year program is the Transportation Improvement Program is the basis of how they receive federal funds and state transportation funds. We've identified 3 new candidate projects for the city's priority list. Phase 1 of the US 1 corridor study safety improvements from Crane Creek Bridge to W.H. Jackson Street. Phase 2 would be the US 1 corridor study safety improvements from W.H. Jackson Street to University, and the Sarner Road, O'Galley Boulevard intersection improvements reconfiguration. We've had agenda items in your packet that shows all the other projects that are on the list. A lot of them were on the list last year. We had, I think, 2 of the projects that were on the list last year that were funded for this year and are no longer in the list. I could go through these if you like. They are, quite a few of them are not City of Melbourne projects, but we're supporting adjacent municipalities or Brevard County or DOT type projects.
I have one question.
Yeah, Mr. Thomas.
So is that, and I would assume that's also reciprocated, they do that for us sometimes as well?
Correct,
I
yes.
got you, okay. Very good.
All right. Any other questions for
So,
Mr.
Mayor?
Cunningham? Yeah, Mr. LaRusso.
What I said before, I want to I want to pull that back
Say
out
it
and
again.
insert it here, okay? Please.
All
Thank
right.
you.
All right, very good. Any other questions, comments? All right, seeing none. Council, what is your pleasure? Item number 18.
Mayor,
Ms. Minus.
I move for approval of Melbourne's project priorities for the Space Coast Transportation Planning Organization's Transportation Improvement Program for fiscal year 2021 through fiscal year 2025.
Okay.
All right, I have a motion for approval of item number 18, as stated in council's package by Ms. Minus, second by Vice Mayor Elfrey. Discussion? Seeing none, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, and I vote aye, and the motion passes. Now we're into consent agenda. Mr. McEwen said nothing was pulled, so items A through I. Council, what is your pleasure?
Mayor,
Vice Mayor Elfrey.
recommended approval of consent agendas A through I.
Second.
All right, I have a motion for approval of the consent agenda, A through I, by Vice Mayor Elfrey, second by Ms. Minus. Discussion? Seeing none, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, and I vote aye, and the motion passes. Items number 20, we didn't have anything removed, so now we're into item 21. And this is funding agreement with the City of Melbourne and the South Brevard Women's Center, which is the SBWC fiscal year 2019 to 2020 Community Development Block Grant, which we call CDBG funds. And here to report is under Community Development, Ms. Cindy Dimmer.
Yes, thank you. This is a request for approval of a funding agreement between the City of Melbourne and the South Brevard Women's Center that will utilize CDBG funding for the project. South Brevard Women's Center provides transitional housing and support to homeless women and their children within the City of Melbourne. The funding agreement that Council has before them will require that the South Brevard Women's Center renovate 2 of their transitional units that are located on Elizabeth Street.
So last July, City Council approved the 2019-2020 CDBG action plan, and we provided $83,107 for this project. Subsequent to that, staff looked at cost estimates, realized the amount of renovation that was going to be required in these 2 units was going to exceed that. So this March, we brought back up a budget change for council and added an additional $25,000 to this project. So now we have a total of $108,107 that will go towards this project. The units will be brought up to full code as required by our HUD requirements. And additionally, South Brevard Women's Center will add an additional little over $20,000 to the project that'll cover the bid costs. It's approximately $117,000. And the funds are already allotted in our CDBG funds for the 2019-2020 funding. And staff would recommend approval of the funding agreement between the City of Melbourne and the South Brevard Women's Center in the amount of $108,107, substantially in the form attached, and also authorization for the city manager to execute the funding agreement and any other necessary documents.
Thank you, Ms. Dittmer. Any questions for Ms. Dittmer on this project? I do want to mention that Becky Lindstrom is here she's available for questions. She's here in the audience. You're right there. Okay, very good. All right, she's here if you have any questions. All right. All right, so council, what is your pleasure?
Mayor?
Yeah.
Move for approval of the funding agreement between the City of Melbourne and the South Brevard Women's Center in the amount of $108,107, substantially in the form attached, and authorization for the city manager to execute the funding agreement and other documents necessary to implement the project.
Second.
All right, I have a motion for approval of item number 21, as stated in council's package by Ms. Thomas, and it was, I think, a tie.
Fine.
All right, second by Ms. Minus. Discussion? Seeing none, those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, and I vote aye, and the motion passes. Item 22, ordinance number 2020-36, Ms. Allison Dolly.
Yes, ma'am. An ordinance of the City of Melbourne, Brevard County, Florida, relating to the Police Officers Retirement Trust Fund, creating a share plan for police officers of the City of Melbourne, amending Chapter 44 of the City Code entitled Retirement and Pensions, amending Article 6, Police Officers Retirement Trust Fund, amending Section 44-223, Contributions, and Section 44-224, Benefit Amounts and Eligibility, providing for severability and interpretation, providing an effective date, and providing an adoption schedule.
Thank you, Ms. Dolly. This is under Financial Services, and here to report is Jeff Town, Director of Finance.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. This and the next item are very similar in nature to each other. The city basically charges a excise tax, if you will, on certain types of insurance, which creates money that comes back to the city. In 2017, and then for one of them it was in 2018, the city and the union agreed to a dollar amount that would be kept by the city to help reduce our required contribution to the police pension fund and the fire pension fund. Those numbers are different for each fund, but that was the number set back in those times. Then the excess above and beyond that is split 50% to go to what's called the share plan. So we've established a share plan. This is establishing the particulars of the share plan, of how the share plan will be distributed to each member of each union. So we haven't done that yet. The law basically said that you have to get together, bargain that with the union, between the city and the union, and determine how are you going to form your share plan, how you fund the share plan, who gets credit, like what members get credit, how is it distributed, how is the income earned, how are the expenses allocated to the fund, and how is the distribution, depending on whether someone vests or doesn't vest, and whether or not someone retires or just plain leaves the city's employment. So all of that is outlined in the language that you see underlined in the revised ordinances, but basically we set it up so that each member of the union that's there as of a specific date. I want to step back 1 minute. This was an easy one to negotiate with the union because it was their money. The law says and the ordinance says that it was theirs. All we wanted to know is, how do you want it? How do you want your members to receive the funds that they're entitled to? So we did bargain with the unions. they did vote to authorize this language. So we worked hand in hand. It took a little while because we wanted to make sure we got the language right, especially when it comes to, pension funds, and this is a form of the pension. So after we did all of that and we outlined who's going to receive what, basically, to make a long story short, it's broken up, the ordinance is broken up into who's qualified, and it's who was a member as a specific date, which is mentioned in each of these items. And the unions wanted to make it specific to encourage longevity in serving the city of Melbourne. So they wanted people to vest after being here for 10 years, not including any buyback provision, as if you say, I worked in another community and I bought my way into the city of Melbourne's pension. So I thought that was good. The union really wanted to encourage that. They wanted kind of a bonus, if you will. If you stay here beyond 10 years, you're entitled to this extra funds. So it's credited each year to each member on an equal participation unit, but you only get it if you're here 10 years or more. And if you leave at 9, your share, so say Councilmember Thomas left at 9 years and he was a member of the fire union, his share that's plus his interest that is accumulated would be evenly distributed to everybody else as of the October 1 of the next year. So we try to make it as simple as possible to say everybody knows if they get credit or they don't get credit, because that's the hardest thing when you establish these things. So that's one. And then it talks about the specific dollar amounts. There's a set dollar amount that was spoken of when we established the share plan, and then the excess is anything above and beyond that. And then the allocation of funding, as I just mentioned, who vests, and then investment of the share account. It's going to be commingled with all the other pension funds, so we don't have to do anything extra. It's all part of the big pool of money that we invest for the pensions. And the distribution talks about how people get it. It basically goes to the person if they choose after 10 years to withdraw it, and or it goes to their beneficiary as defined with their pension benefits. So a lot of these do these crazy things, and we, where it's like, oh, they can give it to, their third grandson. No, we said, whatever you have for pension plan is what you get for the share plan. So that way there's no confusion as to how that's going to work. And then death benefits is also outlined here. And the rulemaking board is the pension board to administer the share plan for like fees and income and how all that works, because that's what they typically do with the pension itself. With that said, there's a difference in the premium for the excise tax. One is at 0.85% of a particular insurance, which is the municipal police pensions. It's 0.85% of the gross receipts of premiums from policies on premiums collected on casualty insurance policies. And the firefighters' pension is 1.85% of the premiums on property insurance policies. If you wanted to know where the funds came from, that's where they come from. So each year, the city also gets, the largest chunk of this, and those numbers are outlined in here as well. I think that's all I have to explain the process, but I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Mr. Town. I'm glad you did. That was great. All right, Vice Mayor Elfrey.
Yeah, I'm gonna throw a wrench into this. Actually, I need yours and the city attorney's opinion on this, because I do receive my monthly retirement from the city for police officer pension. So I got to know whether I can vote on this, or because I don't even know how this affects me, or even if it does.
When did you leave, sir?
2012.
Then you're not affected by this.
Perfect. Okay. Okay.
All right. Mr. LaRusso.
Just one question. The vesting, I'm non-financial guy, a little confused. So FRS vests in 6 years and just vests in 10 years? Just help me understand where those connect.
Sure.
That's all.
There's no connection between the two of those. Okay. Basically, the union wanted to say these funds are going to be distributed as of, I'll pick one. One of them is as of whoever's in the system, whoever's a member of the police pension, for instance, as of October 1 of 2017. Anybody who's a police officer, October 1, 2017, you're going to get an equal distribution of the 50% portion. What the union wanted, which is their right to do, is say, you're only going to get it. Now, this is a Melbourne rule, if you will, because we negotiated with the union on this. You're only going to be entitled to collect and keep your share plan portion of the pension if you stay here 10 years or more. So this is a local vesting, if you will, on the share plan portion only.
Got it.
The other portion is set by, state statute.
No, I
and,
get it. I just wanted
that's what
to see if the two of them interacted in any way, shape, or form. And so the 10-year vesting, though, is 2017, you said, but they don't have to start at 2017 and then go to 2027.
Correct.
All right.
Each year, when the money is distributed to the city,
Right.
that following October 1, whoever's there gets their pro rata share added to their pension plan. So each year you could add, or each year you could lose people depending on
Thank
what
you
their
for
employment is.
accommodating my lack of information on this stuff.
And I just
appreciate
want to
it.
add one more thing, and to emphasize it is that the union's really looking for people to stay here long-term. And this, I think, this thing is the way in which we negotiated this, I think will really help that, because this could add up to some significant dollars over time. I mean, it might not be right now, but you put money away, 10 years, you got a much bigger opportunity to have the income earned on that. So I think it's a good policy. And again, it's amendable. For some reason, if the unions don't like that, we'll renegotiate at some point in time. But that was their request, to have the longevity of their people. So we applauded that. We think it's really good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is very good. Because I think in the long run, with the training and hiring, it's expensive. So, yeah.
It is.
All right, very good. Any other comments? All right, seeing none, council, what is your pleasure on item 22?
Mayor?
Ms. Thomas.
Move for approval of ordinance number 2020-36.
Second.
All right, I have a motion for approval of ordinance number 2020-36 by Ms. Thomas, second by Vice Mayor Elfrey. Discussion? Seeing none, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, and I vote aye, and the motion passes. Item number 23, ordinance number 2020-37, Ms. Allison Dolly.
An ordinance of the City of Melbourne, Brevard County, Florida, relating to the Firefighters Pension Plan, creating a share plan for the firefighters of the City of Melbourne, amending Chapter 44 of the City Code entitled Retirement and Pensions, amending Article 5 Firefighters Pension Plan, amending Section 167 Contributions, and Section 44-168 Benefit Amounts and Eligibility to add reference and operation details to the share plan, providing for severability and interpretation, providing an effective date, and providing an adoption schedule.
Thank you, Ms. Dolly. This is Finance Director Jeff Town. You're on.
Thank you. Mayor, I don't have much to add to this. Only the dollar amount changes because of the amount collected from the excise tax on the type of insurance that's there. So, for instance, $129,310 will be distributed to the members as of the date that's in the ordinance. So that's the starting figure, if you will, that will be distributed in those equal shares that I talked about previously. Otherwise, everything in this language is very similar to the other one, if not identical.
Thank you, Mr. Town. Yeah, Ms. Sanders.
The firefighters are 10 years vested as well?
Correct.
Okay.
All right, very good. Any other questions, comments? All right, seeing none, council, what is your pleasure on ordinance number 2020-37?
Mayor?
Ms. Minus.
I move for approval of ordinance number 2020-37.
Second.
All right, I have a motion for approval of ordinance number 2020-37 by Ms. Minus, second by Ms. Thomas. Discussion? Seeing none, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, and I vote aye, and the motion passes. We are now in petitions, remonstrances, and communications. Mr. McEwen, do I have any? All right. Council, what is your pleasure? Vice Mayor Elfrey.
Two things. One, see, we got this item for Monarch City, USA regarding the butterflies. I find it kind of neat because my littlest one, she actually made me go find milkweed, and we went and found it. And it was very hard to find at first, but we ended up finding it, and we planted it, and I was pretty amazed how much these caterpillars eat that milkweed. And I went out there probably a week ago, and there was like 8 butterflies. I think it was really neat, and you guys should try it. I mean, plant some of the milkweed, and it's
Can
good.
you just get that at your local store?
Yeah.
We got it at Home Depot.
Okay.
Lowe's was out, and we went to Home Depot. But they're out, and when it comes in, people go out and buy it. They hear it because they all plant it, and next thing you know, butterflies are everywhere. So it's pretty neat on that. So it's neat that a 9-year-old kind of taught me about that. Second is, I hope I see all of y'all at the dog park on Saturday open at 10 a.m. It's been a lot of work, a lot of effort. Kudos to everyone in our parks department, and this is going to be pretty neat. And so I'm looking forward, and thank you all, because this is going to be, the first one was out of the park, this one is in space. So this one with the splash pad, and such. This is going to be, this is a benchmark.
All right,
Thank
very
you
good.
all for this. Really, this has been a good ride on that.
All right, very
Mayor.
good. Mr. Thomas?
Yeah, I'm really excited because in the next meeting or two, we're going to have an opportunity to make an appointment or two to the Melbourne CRA as well as the O'Galley CRA. And I know we advertise those on the Melbourne website, but I'll speak for myself. I know I have not done a very good job in advertising the importance of these CRA seats. And so, it's very important that we have diversity of thought and diversity of culture on these boards. And so I've been going out, especially people, in particular, looking for people who are familiar with blighted areas. And so I've been out advertising and reminding people the importance of these CRA appointments. And hopefully we're going to generate some new folks to come in to want to apply for these positions. And I'm looking forward to that because I think it's going to make our CRAs better. I think we're going to have folks that are going to be maybe have a better understanding of blighted areas. And so I'm looking forward to it. So hopefully we'll get that here in the next meeting or two.
All right.
Mayor?
Yeah, Ms. Minus.
Yeah, Virgin Trains. Let's see, I think Melbourne is going to be the first city that's going to be affected by the Virgin Trains that's coming into with Prospect and Stone Street, where they're going to be closing it off or have closed it off already for 2 years, 24 months. It's 2 years now. So we're being affected by that now, and it's going to be 2 years. So at the back center, you can't turn right at the back center.
That's right.
And go across the track, trying to, the back way. So
I know.
we are
Seems like a
affected.
long time, doesn't it? 2
Yeah.
years. Yeah,
Yeah.
that bridge needs to be replaced. It
Yeah, it
really
does.
bad.
It-
I was hoping that we could salvage it and use it as the walkway between, downtown and South
That's a great
Melbourne.
idea, yeah.
And there's just no way.
No, huh?
So, yeah.
I remember it used to be many years ago.
Well, it's still on the, 5-year plan.
Yeah.
As far as that walk bridge.
Yeah,
But,
yeah, so I'm excited about that.
yeah, very good.
Yeah.
All right, Mr. LaRusso.
Just for me, I just want to. I love this stuff. I want to welcome Paul Alfrey to the mayor race, if nothing else. Up or down, right or left, welcome to the race, and I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you. Best of luck, buddy.
All right.
Amen,
All right,
brother.
so I got a letter from United Way from Robert Raines, and I'm going to read it. Although the COVID-19 overshadowed the final of the grand finale of the 2020 Health First Mayor's Fitness Challenge, we are proud to report the challenge still mobilized 2,202 people to exercise for 4.5 million minutes. We are all winners in this common effort to build a healthier community. So on behalf of the United Way of Brevard, I wanted to extend a heartfelt thank you for supporting this event once again. Your contribution is always a key part of our success. So please know that your partnership is valued and truly appreciated. So yeah, it's very cool. All right, anything else? Seeing none, council, it is adjourned at 8 o'clock. Very good, very good.
Not bad for a moment.
Yeah, a lot of engineering reports.
Rub it in, huh? I got it, okay. I was cross-eyed when I was doing this.